Hi everybody, I'm Dan Joseph with MRC-TV. Now, with the exception of the debates and election night itself, the announcement of the vice presidential candidates is the most anticipated event of any presidential election cycle. It's an important job for like a week. After the announcement is made, the individual is lavished with media attention. They give a few speeches and then are usually pushed into the background so as not to steal attention away from the presidential nominee. But that doesn't mean that the VP candidate doesn't have the ability to make a big difference. Today we're going to talk about a few of the people who are rumored to be on Hillary Clinton's shortlist to be her running mate. But first, let's talk about a long shot who is getting more buzz than the other potential candidates, Elizabeth Warren. If Hillary Clinton is elected, it would be historic. Her-storic. First woman president. Big deal. But putting another old lady on the ticket would just be too her-storic. It would grab attention away from how her-storic Hillary is, and I don't think Hillary is in a big rush to share the spotlight. Also, Hillary gets a lot of money from Wall Street, and Wall Street despises Elizabeth Warren. So while Wall Street may turn a blind eye to a little political flirtation between the two of them, that Wall Street money could dry up very quickly if she were to give her the number 2 slot. Cagney and Lacey, Laverne and Shirley, Thelma and Louise, Hillary and Liz. Of course, we all remember what happened at the end of Thelma and Louise. That scene might actually be the perfect metaphor for a Clinton-Warren administration. No, the money right now is on the idea that Hillary will pick a white male in order to balance out the ticket and appeal to, you know, white males. Okay, so who is Hillary considering for the number 2 slot? Right now, there are 3 names that keep popping up. 1. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine. Pluses. He's a relatively moderate, soft-spoken senator from a swing state with experience as a governor. He speaks fluent Spanish and was actually a Catholic missionary as a young man. Giving up on dedicating your life to the Almighty in exchange for dedicating your life to Hillary Clinton may seem a bit of an extreme change of course, but if you're the vice president, you get a free house, so I kind of get it. If Tim Kaine had to leave the Senate to serve as VP, a Democrat governor would appoint his replacement. That's a big deal because the Democrats see themselves as having a good chance to win the Senate back this year. Negatives. He's like a walking Lunesta tablet. The guy will put you to sleep faster than soccer. In Virginia, it's actually illegal to operate a vehicle if his voice comes on the radio. He's not a guy who's going to excite the base, and he's way too moderate to get Sanders voters pumped up. But he's a safe choice, and the first rule of picking a vice president is that you pick someone that is not going to hurt your chances of winning. Kaine might not help Hillary too much outside of Virginia, but it's unlikely that he would hurt her. Number 2, this 8-year-old boy. I'm just kidding. His name is Julian Castro. Castro is the current Secretary of the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Remember when Barack Obama gave the speech to the Democratic Convention in 2004 and immediately became a rising star? Well, Castro played that same role in 2012. Obviously, his youth could serve as a nice contrast to Hillary's not youth, but as we know, that can backfire on you if you're not careful. But let's be honest. Castro's primary appeal would be that he's Hispanic, and Democrats need to do well with the Hispanic vote if they want to win. But for some reason, Hillary doesn't seem to be all that concerned about losing the Hispanic vote these days. Can't imagine why. Negatives. He also poses a risk as he has had almost no experience on a national stage of any kind. Because Clinton is way up in the polls among Hispanics, I would say Castro is going to have to wait for another few cycles before he gets his turn. Number 3, Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown. Okay, at this point, I think that this is the guy she's probably going to pick. Positives. Brown is probably almost as liberal as Sanders, but doesn't call himself a socialist or come across as a wild-eyed revolutionary. But his positions on trade issues could do a lot to help butthurt Sanders supporters come back home to the Democratic camp. He bashes Wall Street, but isn't nearly as vicious towards them as Warren. And of course, there's Ohio. If Donald Trump wants to win the White House, chances are he's going to have to win Ohio. And Brown is a popular figure among the blue-collar workers Trump would need in order to turn the state red. But again, there's a negative. Besides the fact that he's to the left of Fidel Castro, if Brown becomes Veep, this guy picks his successor. Again, this would hurt Democrats' chances of taking back the Senate, but is winning the White House worth the risk? Of course, there's one guy that no one's talking about, and he's perfect. He's been totally vetted. He has on-the-job experience, and he has a sterling record of sitting around and doing nothing, which is the primary constitutional function of the vice president. Of course, I'm speaking of current vice president, Joe Biden. He's perfect. He wouldn't even have to move. And in an election cycle marked by the fact that the major party candidates are both incredibly unpopular, Biden might help you because, are you ready for this? Joe Biden has the lowest unfavorable ratings of any national politician in the country. True story. But Biden is getting up there in years. You may love your crazy uncle, but at a certain point he starts walking around the house with no pants when company comes over and has to go to the old vice president's home. It's probably getting to be that time for Biden. So that's the conventional wisdom at the moment as to who is going to sit around for the next 4 years and wait for the president to either die or get impeached. I'm Dan Joseph with MRC-TV. If you like this video, check out our YouTube page or visit us at mrctv.org or MRC-TV on Facebook. See you next week.